질문을 되풀이하며 시작하기.
Oh, you're asking about topic, right? Well, let me think for a second. Tell me about a memorable trip you took. Oh, you're asking about a memorable trip, right? Well, let me think for a second. I've had several great trips, but one that really stands out is my trip to Jeju Island last summer. The scenery was breathtaking, and I had a great time exploring the beaches and local markets. So, if I understand correctly, you want to know about topic, right? Can you tell me about public transportation in your city? So, if I understand correctly, you want to know about public transportation in my city, right? Well, public transportation here is quite convenient. The subway system is very efficient, and buses run frequently throughout the city. That's an interesting question. You're asking me about topic, and I'd love to share my thoughts. How has your taste in music changed over the years? That's an interesting question. You're asking me about how my taste in music has changed, and I'd love to share my thoughts. When I was younger, I used to listen to a lot of rock music, but over time, I started enjoying jazz and classical music more.
생각하는 시간을 벌기 위한 표현.
Let me think about that for a second. What are some challenges of using public transportation? Let me think about that for a second. Well, I guess one challenge is that sometimes buses and trains can be really crowded, especially during rush hour. It can be stressful when you have to stand for a long time or when there are delays. Well, that's a good question. I haven't really thought about it before, but how do you think food delivery services have changed in recent years? Well, that's a good question. I haven't really thought about it before, but I think food delivery services have improved a lot. Nowadays, there are more healthy options, and the delivery times have gotten much faster compared to a few years ago. Oh, that's an interesting topic. Let me take a moment to organize my thoughts. What are the benefits of staying at home for vacation instead of traveling? Oh, that's an interesting topic. Let me take a moment to organize my thoughts. Well, I think staying at home can be very relaxing. You don't have to deal with the stress of packing, booking flights, or dealing with crowds. Instead, you can fully rest and enjoy your time in a comfortable environment. That's a tough one, but I'll try my best to answer. How do you think public transportation will change in the future? That's a tough one, but I'll try my best to answer. I think public transportation will become more eco-friendly, with more electric and self-driving buses. Also, I believe we might see more efficient and faster train systems in the future.
개인적인 경험과 연결하기.
Actually, that reminds me of a time when. Have you ever had a problem with public transportation? Actually, that reminds me of a time when I got stuck in a subway for over an hour due to a power outage. It was really frustrating because I was on my way to an important meeting. I ended up taking a taxi, but I was still late. Since then, I always check the subway app for any delays before I leave home. Speaking of topic, I remember something interesting that happened to me. Tell me about a time when you received the wrong order at a restaurant. Speaking of wrong orders, I remember something interesting that happened to me. A few months ago, I ordered a burger at a restaurant, but they gave me a completely different dish. At first, I was a little annoyed, but when I tried it, I actually liked it a lot. So in the end, it turned out to be a happy mistake. This question makes me think of an experience I had before. Can you tell me about a memorable concert you attended? This question makes me think of an experience I had before. A couple of years ago, I went to a live concert of my favorite band. The atmosphere was amazing, and I remember singing along to every song with thousands of other fans. It was one of the best nights of my life.
일반적인 의견을 먼저 말하면서 시간을 벌기.
Well, I think most people would say that general statement, and I somewhat agree. Do you prefer working from home or working in an office? Well, I think most people would say that working from home is more convenient, and I somewhat agree. You don't have to commute, and you can have a more flexible schedule. However, I also think working in an office has its benefits, like better collaboration with coworkers. Many people have different opinions on this, but for me, I believe that. What do you think is the best way to spend a weekend? Many people have different opinions on this, but for me, I believe that spending time with family is the best way to enjoy the weekend. Whether it's having a meal together, watching a movie, or going on a short trip, quality time with loved ones is always valuable. That's a question with many possible answers, but if I had to choose one, I'd say, what is the most important quality in a good leader? That's a question with many possible answers, but if I had to choose one, I'd say communication skills. A good leader should be able to clearly convey their ideas and listen to others. Without effective communication, it's difficult to build trust and teamwork.
경험이 없을 때 돌려 말하기.
To be honest, I haven't had a chance to experience this myself, but if I had to imagine. Have you ever gone skydiving? To be honest, I haven't had a chance to experience this myself, but if I had to imagine, I think skydiving would be both thrilling and terrifying. Jumping from a plane must feel like an incredible rush of adrenaline, but at the same time, I imagine it takes a lot of courage to actually do it. I don't have much experience with this, but I can guess that. How do you think working as a chef would be? I don't have much experience with this, but I can guess that being a chef is extremely demanding. You have to work long hours, stay on your feet all day, and handle a lot of pressure in a fast-paced environment. However, I also imagine it must be very rewarding to create delicious dishes and see customers enjoy them. I've never done this before, but I believe that. Do you think learning a new language is difficult? I've never done this before, but I believe that learning a new language takes a lot of dedication and practice. It's not just about memorizing words, you also need to understand grammar, pronunciation, and cultural differences. However, I think it must be very satisfying to finally be able to communicate in a new language.
두 가지 관점을 소개하면서 시간을 벌기.
Well, there are two sides to this. On one hand, point A, but on the other hand, point B. Do you prefer online shopping or shopping in physical stores? Well, there are two sides to this. On one hand, online shopping is very convenient because you can buy anything from home and compare prices easily. But on the other hand, shopping in physical stores allows you to see and try the products before purchasing, which helps avoid disappointment. I see both pros and cons in this situation. First, let's talk about the advantages. Do you think working from home is better than working in an office? I see both pros and cons in this situation. First, let's talk about the advantages. Working from home allows for more flexibility, saves commuting time, and can be more comfortable. However, on the downside, it can be harder to stay focused, and there are fewer opportunities for social interaction with coworkers.
상황에 따라 다르다고 말하면서 시간을 벌기.
Well, I think it really depends on the situation. Do you prefer to travel alone or with others? Well, I think it really depends on the situation. If I'm going on a short trip and want to relax, I might prefer to travel alone. But if it's a long vacation, traveling with family or friends makes the experience more enjoyable. It depends on various factors, such as Factor 1 and Factor 2. Is it better to live in a big city or a small town? It depends on various factors, such as personal lifestyle and career opportunities. If someone prefers a fast-paced life with many job options, a big city might be better. But if they want a peaceful and quiet environment, a small town would be a better choice. Different people might have different opinions on this, and I can see why. Do you think fast food is bad for people? Different people might have different opinions on this, and I can see why. Some people argue that fast food is unhealthy and should be avoided. However, others believe that it is convenient and affordable, especially for busy people. Personally, I think it's fine in moderation.
이유를 하나씩 설명하면서 시간을 벌기.
Actually, I have a few reasons for this. First of all, reason 1. Secondly, reason 2. And finally, reason 3. Why do you prefer staying at home during vacations? Actually, I have a few reasons for this. First of all, staying at home is much more relaxing because I don't have to deal with the stress of traveling. Secondly, it's much cheaper since I don't need to pay for transportation or accommodation. And finally, I can spend quality time with my family and do things I enjoy, like watching movies or cooking special meals. If I had to give 3 reasons, I'd say 1, 2, and 3. What are the benefits of learning a second language? If I had to give 3 reasons, I'd say first, it helps improve communication skills. Second, it creates more career opportunities. And third, it allows people to understand different cultures better.